The night hiker is a mysterious figure. Trail cameras have captured something intriguing about this nocturnal wanderer. The footage reveals an unexpected discovery in the darkness of the forest. Hikers reported unsettling encounters on a popular national park trail. Rangers installed wildlife cameras to identify a suspected mountain lion. Instead, they captured something far more disturbing. A figure was seen moving on all fours at night. It wore what appeared to be animal hides. The figure was carefully examining each campsite. More alarming was the discovery that this had been happening for months. No one had reported feeling watched until then. Despite extensive searches and increased patrols, the subject remains unidentified. The sun dipped below the tree line. Long shadows stretched across the ranger station at Shadowpine Park. Inside, computers hummed softly. Papers rustled in the quiet room. Sarah Blackwood sat hunched over her desk. Her eyes were fixed intently on the monitor before her. The evening atmosphere settled over the station as Sarah continued her focused work.
What the hell?
Sarah leaned closer to the screen, her face scrunched in focus. The wildlife camera video flashed, revealing a moonlit clearing. Suddenly, a dark figure darted across the frame. It moved too quickly and stood too upright to be any animal Sarah knew. The mysterious creature's appearance left her puzzled and intrigued.
That can't be right.
Hey Sarah, you're burning the midnight oil again. Find anything interesting?
Jack Morrison entered the room. He was Sarah's deputy ranger. Jack held a steaming cup of coffee. Sarah barely looked up from her screen. Her attention remained fixed on the display.
Jack, come look at this. Tell me I'm not seeing things.
Jack set his coffee down. He leaned over Sarah's shoulder. Jack squinted at the footage.
Looks like a bear, maybe? Or a particularly ambitious raccoon?
No. Look closer. The way it moves, it's almost human.
Sarah rewound the footage and played it again in slow motion. The figure's outline became clearer as she watched. It was clearly walking on two legs, with long arms. The arms swung back and forth as the figure ran.
Come on, Sarah. You can't seriously think this. Is there some kind of wild man? Do you believe he's running around out there?
I don't know what it is, Jack, but I know what I'm seeing. It's not like anything we've documented before. This phenomenon is completely new to us. We're dealing with something unprecedented here.
Sarah's voice revealed mixed emotions. She felt both excited and apprehensive. Her fingers tapped restlessly on the desk. Sarah pondered the implications of the situation.
Look, it's getting late. Your eyes are probably playing tricks on you. Why don't you head home for now? We can take a fresh look in the morning.
I can't just ignore this, Jack. What if there's someone out there, someone who needs help?
Sarah's mind briefly recalled her mother. Her mother had been lost in these woods decades ago. Sarah pushed the painful memory aside. She focused on the present mystery.
Or it could be nothing. It might just be a glitch in the camera. Perhaps it's a normal animal that looks strange in the dark. Don't go chasing shadows, Sarah.
I'm not chasing shadows. I'm following evidence. Something's out there, Jack. I'm determined to find out what it is.
Sarah's determination was palpable. Her eyes shone with curiosity and strong will. Jack sighed, recognizing the look. He knew Sarah wouldn't be easily persuaded to change her mind.
All right, I need you to make me a promise. Don't go wandering off into the dark by yourself. We need to handle this situation properly. Let's do everything by the book, okay?
Fine. Tomorrow morning we'll check out that clearing. I'll bring all our trail cameras with us.
Sarah began gathering her gear. A chill wind rattled the station windows. Out in the wide area of Shadowpine, something moved through the night. It was unseen and unknown. The presence left only questions behind. The dim light flickered in Sarah's cabin. She hunched over her cluttered desk. Stacks of dusty files and faded photographs surrounded her. Outside, the wind howled ominously. It was a haunting reminder of secrets hidden within the nearby national park.
There has to be a connection here somewhere. These disturbances are occurring. They're too similar to be a coincidence. The pattern suggests a link between the events that can't be ignored.
Sarah's fingers traced the outline of an old photograph. Her mother's smiling face stared back at her. She sighed, feeling a mix of emotions. Determination mingled with a deep ache of loss. Despite the pain, Sarah found strength in her mother's familiar smile.
Come in.
The door creaked open. Jack Morrison appeared in the doorway. His expression showed a mix of concern and doubt.
Sarah, it's late. What are you still doing up?
I'm onto something, Jack. Look at these reports from 30 years ago. The sightings and unexplained noises are noteworthy. It's all happening again.
Sarah, I understand this is personal for you. However, you can't let your missing mother cloud your judgment. We need to focus on facts. We don't deal in speculation or unlikely theories.
Sarah's eyes showed both anger and hurt. She stood up abruptly from her seat. Her sudden movement caused several papers to flutter to the floor.
This isn't about ghosts, Jack. It's about a pattern that everyone seems to ignore. People are in danger. I'm the only one willing to see it.
Calm down, Sarah. I'm not your enemy here. But you have to admit, it's unusual. Feral humans living in the park? That sounds hard to believe.
Sarah took a deep breath. She was trying to control her frustration. She picked up a file from nearby. Then, she thrust it into Jack's hands.
Read this important information. In 1993, Park Ranger Thomas Chen filed a report. He described seeing wild men near the Northridge Caves. 2 weeks later, Chen vanished without a trace.
Sarah,
And here, look at these photos from the trail cameras last week. Tell me what you see. Doesn't that look like a human figure?
Jack studied the grainy images intently, his brow furrowed in concentration. For a moment, doubt appeared on his face.
It's unusual. I'll give you that. But we need more evidence before we start a panic.
That's why I need access to the restricted archives. There's more down there, I'm sure of it.
You know I can't authorize that without cause. The higher-ups would have my badge.
Sarah's shoulders slumped. The weight of her isolation weighed her down. She turned away from the room. Sarah gazed out the window. She stared into the darkness of the forest.
Then I'll find another way. I won't let this go, Jack. Not when I'm so close to the truth.
Sarah, please, don't do anything rash. We're a team, remember?
Sarah remained silent. Her reflection in the glass was a clear reminder of her mother's absence. Jack sighed deeply. He realized he couldn't reach her emotionally.
Just be careful, okay? And call me if you need backup.
Jack's footsteps faded away. Sarah turned back to her desk. Her resolve was hardening. She picked up her mother's photograph. Sarah traced the familiar features with a trembling finger.
I'll find the truth, Mom. I promise.
Sarah felt a renewed sense of determination. She dove back into her research with vigor. Unknown to her, someone was watching. A pair of eyes observed her cabin from the forest shadows. The dense canopy of Shadow Pine National Park loomed overhead. Sarah Blackwood ventured deeper into uncharted territory. The air grew thick with an unsettling silence. Only the occasional snap of a twig beneath her boots broke the quiet.
This is further than any of our patrols have gone before. Something's not right here.
Sarah's eyes darted from tree to tree. Her senses were on high alert. She pushed through a tangle of underbrush. Suddenly, Sarah froze in her tracks, her gaze fixed on an unexpected sight.
What the hell?
Before her lay a crude shelter. It was fashioned from branches and animal hides. The shelter was clearly made by humans, yet it was far too primitive for any modern camper.
Hello? Is anyone there? This is Ranger Blackwood.
Sarah's hand moved quickly to her hip. Her fingers brushed against her tranquilizer gun. The rustling grew louder in the surrounding area. A shadow darted between the trees, increasing the tension.
Oh my God.
A figure burst from the underbrush. It appeared more animal than human. Tangled hair fell in clumps around its face. The face was twisted with wild rage. Sarah stumbled backward, shocked by the sight. Her training was momentarily forgotten as she faced this impossible scene.
Stay back. I'm warning you.
The creature lunged forward. Its movements were a horrifying mix of human agility and animal ferocity. Sarah's fingers fumbled for her radio. She backed away slowly. Her eyes never left the advancing creature.
Base, this is Blackwood. I need immediate backup at my location. You're not going to believe what I found.
Sarah, your signal's weak. What's your situation?
Jack's voice crackled through the radio. The creature tilted its head in response. A hint of humanity flickered across its wild features. For a moment, Sarah saw a glimmer of intelligence in its eyes. It was as if the creature connected to a long-forgotten past.
Jack, there are people living out here. However, these people are not like us. My God, could this be related to my mother's disappearance?
The creature retreated into the shadows suddenly. It vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Sarah found herself alone with her discovery. The weight of her realization settled upon her. Her findings held chilling implications. These revelations hinted at the park's dark secrets. The Shadow Pine National Park Ranger Station buzzed with activity. Sarah Blackwood strode through the door with determination. Morning light filtered through the windows. It cast long shadows across the room. The space was filled with her colleagues.
All right, everyone. We need to talk about the situation in the park. It's more serious than we thought.
What now, Blackwood? Another Bigfoot sighting?
Sarah's jaw tightened at the dismissive laughter. The sound rippled through the room. She took a deep breath. Sarah prepared herself for the difficult challenge ahead.
This isn't a joke. We've had 3 more hikers reported missing recently. This has happened in just the last week. Something strange is out there in the wilderness. It's not any wildlife we're familiar with.
Sarah, I know you're concerned. Let's not jump to conclusions. Have you considered another possibility? These might just be novice hikers who are lost.
Sarah turned to Jack Morrison, her deputy ranger. His skepticism was clear on his face. However, Sarah noticed a hint of worry in his eyes. This glimpse of concern gave her hope.
Jack, I've thoroughly explored those trails. This isn't just a case of lost hikers. The patterns we're seeing are unusual. The evidence doesn't align with our past experiences. Something different is happening here.
Sarah pulled out her tablet and projected images onto the station's main screen. The images revealed footprints that seemed almost human, yet unsettlingly odd. There were strange markings visible on trees. A torn backpack was also shown, bearing deep, claw-like gashes.
Come on, Blackwood. This could be anything. Bears. Mountain lions.
When was the last time you saw a bear use tools? Or a mountain lion that walks on 2 legs?
A heavy silence fell over the room. Sarah observed her colleagues' reactions. She could see doubt in their eyes. There were also the first signs of unease. The atmosphere was tense as everyone processed the situation.
Sarah, what exactly are you suggesting?
I don't know yet. Whatever it is, it's intelligent, organized, and dangerous. We need to take action. More people could go missing if we don't. The situation is unclear, but the threat is real and immediate. Our response must be swift to prevent further disappearances.
The meeting turned into heated debate. Sarah slipped away to her office. She knew she needed more evidence and expertise. With a sigh, she picked up her phone. Sarah dialed a number she had hoped never to use.
Dr. Elena Reyes speaking.
Dr. Reyes, this is Sarah Blackwood from Shadow Pine National Park. We need to talk. There's something I need to discuss with you. It's about something you might find interesting. Something that shouldn't exist.
Sarah began to explain the situation to the anthropologist. She felt she was opening a door that could never be closed again. Outside her window, the dense forest of shadow pine seemed alive. It whispered secrets on the wind. Sarah was now determined to uncover these secrets, no matter the cost. The dense forest of Shadow Pine National Park stood threateningly in the darkness. Ancient trees cast long shadows under the pale moonlight. Sarah Blackwood moved silently through the dense vegetation. Her senses were heightened and alert. The cool night air carried an unsettling stillness. This quiet was broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves.
Something's not right tonight. I can feel it in my bones.
Sarah paused in her tracks. Her hand instinctively reached for the tranquilizer gun at her hip. Years of experience had honed her instincts. Tonight, every fiber of her being sensed danger.
Who's there?
Her voice was very quiet, almost a whisper. It seemed to echo in the eerie silence around her. Sarah's eyes quickly scanned the shadows. She was searching carefully for any sign of movement. Suddenly, a figure emerged from behind a twisted oak tree. The figure was tall and lean, with matted hair. Its eyes seemed to glow in the darkness. This being was unlike any person Sarah had ever seen. She had never encountered such a creature in these woods before. The strange appearance and sudden arrival startled Sarah, making her wonder about the nature of this mysterious visitor.
Stop right there. Identify yourself.
The figure tilted its head. It studied Sarah with a disturbing focus. When it spoke, its voice was rough and throaty. The voice sounded as if out of practice speaking. This created an eerie atmosphere around the figure's presence and communication.
You do not belong here, Sarah Blackwood.
Sarah's blood ran cold. A strange being stood before her. Somehow, it knew her name. This unexpected encounter filled Sarah with dread and confusion.
Who are you? How do you know my name?
We have watched you. For many moons, you seek answers in our domain.
Sarah's mind raced with excitement. She wondered if this could be one of the feral humans she had been investigating. The being's speech was halting, yet intriguing. It suggested a level of intelligence Sarah hadn't anticipated. This unexpected discovery left her both curious and cautious about what she might learn next.
Are you responsible for the disappearances in the park? The strange footage on our cameras?
We protect what is ours, as you protect what you believe is yours.
The figure took a step closer. Its movements were smooth and threatening. Sarah tightened her grip on the tranquilizer gun.
Stay back! I'm warning you.
You are not the first to venture this far. However, you are different. You carry the scent of the lost one.
Sarah's heart skipped a beat. A creature had spoken. Could it be referring to her mother?
The lost one? What do you know about her? Tell me.
The figure was already retreating into the shadows. Its voice was fading away. The sound resembled a whisper carried by the wind. This mysterious presence seemed to vanish as quickly as it had appeared, leaving behind only the faintest trace of its existence.
Seek us if you dare, Sarah Blackwood. But know this, the forest guards its secrets well.
And just like that, the figure vanished into the darkness. Sarah was left alone with her racing thoughts. She felt a sudden resolve to uncover the truth. Nothing would stop her, no matter the cost.
I will find out what happened to her, and I'll expose whatever you're hiding in these woods.
Sarah turned to head back to the ranger station. She knew this encounter had changed everything. The mystery of Shadowpine had just become far more complex. It was now much more personal than she could have ever imagined. Before we continue, let's take a moment to reflect. What are your thoughts on this story? What would you like to hear next? Please share your thoughts in the comments. The fluorescent lights of the park ranger station hummed softly. Sarah Blackwood paced across the worn linoleum floor. Her usual solitary approach was about to be challenged. The air felt thick with tension as she waited.
All right, let's get this over with. Jack, Dr. Reyes, I've called you here for a reason. Well, the truth is, I need your help.
Sarah, I'm all ears, but I hope you've got more than just hunches this time.
Trust me, Jack. I wish it were just hunches. But what I've seen out there is extraordinary. It's beyond anything we've dealt with before.
Ms. Blackwood, I'm still not entirely sure why I'm here. My expertise is in anthropology. It's not in wildlife management.
Sarah's eyes narrowed. She regarded Dr. Reyes intently. Sarah weighed her words carefully. She paused before speaking. This moment of tension highlighted Sarah's cautious approach to the conversation with Dr. Reyes.
Dr. Reyes, what if I told you we're not dealing with wildlife, but with something human?
Human? What exactly are you implying?
I've seen them. There's a group of wild humans in Shadowpine. They live in the unexplored areas. I believe they're responsible for recent events. These include disturbances and disappearances.
Sarah, come on. Feral humans? That's a bit far-fetched, even for you.
Sarah's jaw clenched, showing her frustration. She walked to her desk with determination. From the desk, she pulled out a folder. The folder contained grainy photographs and reports.
Look at these unusual findings. We've discovered footprints and strange markings. Our trail cameras have captured mysterious glimpses. All this evidence points to something unexplainable. Our usual theories can't account for these phenomena.
This is intriguing. If what you're saying is true, we might have something remarkable. It could be a groundbreaking discovery about human culture.
This isn't about discovery, Doctor. It's about protecting the park and its visitors. There might be a personal connection to this situation.
A heavy silence fell over the room. Sarah's colleagues processed the gravity of her statement. They also considered the evidence before them. The atmosphere was tense as everyone absorbed the implications of what Sarah had shared.
Personal? Sarah, what aren't you telling us?
My mother disappeared in these woods 30 years ago. I've always thought there was more to the story. Now I believe I might have found a key piece of information. This could help me understand what happened to her.
Ms. Blackwood, I understand your personal stake in this. However, we must approach this scientifically. We need more evidence before reaching any conclusions.
That's why I need your help. Jack, you know these forests almost as well as I do. Dr. Reyes, your expertise is vital. It could be crucial in understanding what we're facing.
Jack and Dr. Reyes exchanged glances. Their initial skepticism began to fade. In its place, a cautious curiosity emerged. The two found themselves intrigued by the unfolding situation.
All right, Sarah, I'm in. But we do this by the book, okay? No lone wolf stunts.
Fair enough. Dr. Reyes?
I admit, this is far outside my usual area of expertise. But if what you're saying is true, it could be revolutionary. It might change how we understand human adaptation and society's growth. I'll help, but I have my own conditions.
Name them.
Any findings we make must be properly documented and studied. These aren't just subjects for your investigation, Sarah. If they exist, they are human beings. Their humanity remains, no matter how different they may be.
Sarah nodded slowly. The weight of their uneasy alliance settled on her shoulders. For the first time in years, she was allowing others into her life. Her world had been closely guarded until now. This new vulnerability felt unsettling to Sarah. Despite her hesitation, she recognized the necessity of opening up to others, even if it made her feel exposed and uncomfortable.
Agreed. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning to plan our first joint expedition. And thank you both.
As Jack and Dr. Reyes left the station, Sarah turned to look out the window. She gazed at the forest growing dark beyond. Somewhere out there, answers awaited. These answers could change everything she thought she knew. They might reveal truths about Shadowpine and her own past. The sun dipped below the tree line in Shadowpine National Park. Long shadows stretched across the rugged terrain. Sarah Blackwood led her small team deeper into uncharted territory. The air grew thick with anticipation. They approached the entrance to a newly discovered cave system.
Dr. Reyes, Jack, stay close. We don't know what we might find in there.
This is incredible, Sarah. The geological formations alone could provide valuable data. If there's evidence of human habitation, it's even more significant. We could be close to making a groundbreaking discovery. These rock structures might reveal crucial information about past civilizations. The potential implications of this find are enormous for our understanding of history.
Sarah's flashlight beam illuminated the darkness. It revealed ancient markings etched into the cave walls. Her heart raced as she recognized crude images of human figures. These were unlike any Native American art she had seen before.
Look at these markings. They're different, primal almost.
Jesus, Sarah, you don't think this could be related to your feral humans, do you?
The group froze in place. Their senses became more alert due to the eerie atmosphere. Sarah's hand moved quickly to her weapon. She carefully scanned the shadows around them.
Stay alert. We're not alone here.
Sarah, these markings are incredible. Look at the depth of the grooves. Notice the repeated symbols. This isn't just random scratching. It's a form of communication. This message might last for generations.
Dr. Reyes was visibly excited about her discovery. She moved along the wall, examining different sections. Her camera flashed repeatedly as she took numerous photos. Meanwhile, Sarah felt increasingly uneasy. An unsettling sensation crept up her spine.
Dr. Reyes, I understand your excitement. However, we need to be cautious. This may be connected to the feral humans. We could be putting ourselves in danger.
But Sarah, don't you see? This could be the key to understanding their origins. It could also help us understand their society. We have a responsibility to document this. We must study it thoroughly.
I hate to say it, but I agree with Sarah on this one, Doc. Something about this place makes me uncomfortable.
A haunting cry echoed through the cavern. The sound caused the team to huddle closer together. Sarah's mind raced with conflicting thoughts. She felt torn between her duty to protect and her burning desire for answers.
We need to leave. Now. We'll come back with a larger team and proper equipment.
But Sarah, we can't just abandon this site. The scientific value alone.
Dr. Reyes, I understand your perspective. However, my priority is our safety. We're not equipped for this situation. We can't handle unknown creatures that might be in these caves.
They slowly walked back to the cave entrance. Sarah's flashlight revealed a hint of movement in the shadows. For a brief moment, she thought she spotted a pair of eyes. These eyes appeared to reflect the light, but they disappeared as quickly as they had shown up.
Sarah, what is it?
I'm not sure. Let's pick up the pace.
They emerged from the cave into the cool night air. It was a stark contrast to the damp, musty interior. Sarah had a strong sense about their discovery. They had found something far more important than just ancient artifacts. The mystery of the wild humans had grown deeper. This discovery brought up difficult questions about what to do next.
We'll report this to park management, but for now, this discovery stays between us. Understood?
But Sarah, the scientific community should know about this.
And they will, Dr. Reyes. But we need to approach this carefully. If word gets out before we fully understand what we're dealing with, it could be disastrous. This could affect the park, us, and potentially this newly discovered tribe.
Sarah and her companions made their way back through the dark forest. Her mind whirled with possibilities. Could this cave system hold the key to her mother's disappearance? If so, at what cost would those answers come? The questions swirled in her thoughts as they navigated the shadowy woods. The scorching summer heat had turned Shadow Pine National Park into a tinderbox. Sarah Blackwood stood atop the fire tower, scanning the horizon. A feeling of dread grew in her stomach. She spotted the first wisps of smoke rising in the distance. The park was now at risk of a wildfire.
This is Ranger Blackwood. We've got a situation. Fire spotted in Sector 7. All units respond.
Sarah's voice crackled over the radio. Her message set off a flurry of activity across the park. She quickly grabbed her gear and rushed down the tower steps. Her mind raced with thoughts of evacuation protocols. She also focused on containment strategies.
Sarah, I've got the emergency response team mobilizing. What's our first move?
Jack, thank God you're here. We need to start evacuating immediately. The campgrounds nearest to Sector 7 are at risk. The wind is picking up quickly. This fire could spread very fast.
Sarah and Jack sped towards the affected area. They traveled in their ranger vehicle. The sky began to darken with ominous smoke. A sharp smell of burning pine filled the air. It was a stark reminder of the danger they faced.
Sarah, look! Over there by the ridge.
Sarah's eyes followed Jack's pointing finger. Through the haze of smoke, she caught a glimpse of shadowy figures. The figures were moving with uncanny speed and agility. They darted through the burning underbrush.
It's them, Jack. The feral humans. They're using the fire to their advantage somehow.
How is that even possible? They should be fleeing like everything else.
Sarah watched in astonishment. Figures darted between burning trees. They appeared unharmed by the heat and smoke. This would overwhelm any normal person.
They know this forest better than we ever could, Jack. We can't focus on them now. We have to get the campers out.
The rangers pulled into the campground. Panicked visitors were quickly packing their belongings. Sarah jumped out of the vehicle. Her voice carried over the chaos.
Everyone, remain calm. This is an emergency evacuation. Follow the marked routes to the safe zones. Leave your gear if you have to. Your safety is the top priority.
Sarah coordinated the evacuation. Her eyes kept darting to the tree line. She searched for any sign of wild people in the area. The fire was spreading faster than anticipated. Sarah had a strong sense that they were being watched. This feeling added urgency to her efforts as she continued to manage the situation.
Sarah, the last group is clear, but the fire's jumping the fire break. We need to pull back.
Agreed. Let's go.
As they retreated, Sarah noticed a figure in the distance. The figure stood on top of a fiery hill. It was the Watcher, and his eyes were fixed on Sarah. Fire surrounded his feet as he stood there. Despite the intense heat, Sarah felt a chill run down her spine.
Jack, did you see that? On the ridge?
See what? Sarah, we need to move.
Sarah hesitated for a moment. She was torn between her duty and her intense curiosity. A massive pine crashed to the ground nearby. Sarah knew they had to leave. They sped away from the inferno. Sarah couldn't shake the image of the Watcher. It stood untouched by the fire. This raised questions about her mother's fate in these woods. The sun dipped below the tree line at Shadow Pine National Park. Long shadows stretched across the landscape. Sarah Blackwood stood at the edge of a popular campground. Her keen eyes scanned the darkening forest. The air was thick with tension. This contrasted sharply with the cheerful chatter of nearby campers. Sarah remained alert, aware of the growing unease in her surroundings.
Something's not right. They're getting bolder, coming closer than ever before.
Sarah's hand quickly gripped her flashlight. She caught a flicker of movement in the underbrush. Her deputy, Jack Morrison, approached from behind. His footsteps crunched on the gravel path.
Sarah, we've got reports of strange noises near the North Ridge. Want me to check it out?
No, I'll handle it. Keep an eye on the campground. If you see anything unusual, radio me immediately.
You sure? It's getting dark. And after what happened last week...
I'm sure, Jack. Just trust me on this, okay?
Sarah's tone softened slightly. She recognized Jack's concern, but she couldn't ignore the sense that she needed to face this alone. As Sarah turned to leave, a child screamed. The scream cut through the silence. Panicked shouts followed from the campground.
Damn it, Jack! Get to that family now!
Sarah sprinted towards the commotion. Her heart was pounding as she ran. When she reached the campsite, Sarah saw a young girl. The girl was pointing frantically towards the tree line. Her parents were trying to calm her down.
There was a man. A scary man with long hair, and he wasn't wearing any clothes.
Sarah's blood ran cold. She knew exactly what the child had seen. Revealing the truth would cause panic. It would also put all her hard work at risk. Sarah faced a difficult choice between honesty and protecting her goals.
It's okay, sweetie. Sometimes the shadows in the forest can play tricks on our eyes. I promise you're safe here.
Sarah reassured the family. Her mind raced with worry. The wild group was growing bolder. She was running out of time. Sarah needed to find a solution quickly. The outcome could be disastrous for everyone involved.
Sarah, a word?
Jack pulled her aside. His face was etched with concern.
We can't keep this up. People are going to get hurt if we don't do something.
I understand your concern, Jack. However, revealing the truth could lead to chaos. The park would likely be shut down. We can't predict what might happen to them.
Them? Sarah, they're dangerous. Your job is to protect the visitors, not some feral humans.
Sarah's eyes flashed intensely. They revealed a powerful mix of emotions. Anger and desperation were clearly visible in her gaze.
It's not that simple. There's more to this than you know. I need more time.
They argued in quiet voices. Neither of them noticed the eyes watching from the shadows. Hidden from view, the watcher observed without a sound. Its gaze locked onto Sarah, filled with a disturbing focus.
Did you hear that?
Sarah turned quickly. Her flashlight beam cut through the darkness. For a split second, she caught a glimpse of a figure. The figure was retreating into the forest. Its movements were too quick and fluid for a normal hiker. Sarah's heart raced as she realized this was no ordinary encounter in the woods.
Jack, get everyone to the visitor center. Now.
What are you going to do?
What I have to. Keep everyone safe, and don't follow me.
Sarah plunged into the forest, leaving a bewildered Jack behind. She navigated the familiar trails, now ominous in the growing darkness. Sarah struggled with her difficult decisions. Her duty as a ranger conflicted with her growing understanding of the wild forest community. Somewhere in the mix of her competing loyalties lay the truth about her mother's disappearance.
I know you're out there. We need to talk.
Her words echoed through the trees. They were met only by the eerie silence of a forest holding its breath. Sarah pressed on, unaware of the consequences. Her actions tonight would permanently change the boundary between two worlds. These actions would set in motion events that would transform the town of Shadowpine forever. The abandoned ranger outpost loomed before Sarah. It stood as a weathered sentinel in the deepening twilight. Years of neglect had transformed it into a ghostly reflection. It mirrored its former self, much like Sarah's haunting memories. With a deep breath, she pushed open the creaking door. Dust particles danced in the beam of her flashlight. The eerie scene before her echoed the passage of time, both in the building and in her own past.
God, it's been years since anyone set foot in here.
Sarah's voice echoed in the empty space. It stirred shadows and memories alike. Her flashlight beam swept across the room. It revealed furniture covered in cobwebs and scattered papers. The light finally settled on a worn desk in the corner. There, a familiar book bound in leather lay partially hidden. It was beneath a layer of dust.
Dad's journal. I can't believe it's still here.
Sarah picked up the journal with trembling hands. Its weight carried more than just pages. As she opened it, a photograph slipped out. The photo fluttered to the floor. She bent to retrieve it. Her breath caught as she recognized the faces.
Mom, Dad, this was taken right before...
Sarah's voice trailed off. She began leafing through the journal. Her father's familiar handwriting filled the pages. The journal contained observations and theories. It also held increasingly disturbing suspicions.
What the hell? There are strange tracks near the eastern caves. The tracks are not animal, but not quite human. Dad, what did you find out here?
Sarah delved deeper into the journal. Her father's entries became more frantic. The journal detailed sightings of shadowy figures. It also mentioned strange occurrences in the park. These events took place in the most remote areas. The mysterious details painted a picture of growing unease and unexplained happenings deep within the park's isolated regions.
No. This can't be. I fear Margaret's disappearance is connected to what I've seen. There's a hidden society living in the shadows of our world. Dad knew about the feral humans all along.
A chill ran down Sarah's spine. The implications of her discovery were sinking in. A mystery had long defined her life. A significant loss had shaped her career. Suddenly, everything took on a new, terrifying dimension.
Mom, what happened to you out there? Were you taken by them? Or did you join them?
Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. Each possibility was more unsettling than the last. She clutched the journal tightly to her chest. Sarah felt conflicted about her professional duty and personal desire. Her duty was to report her findings. Her desire was to uncover the truth about her mother's fate.
I can't let anyone else know about this yet. I need to understand what we're facing first. The situation we're dealing with is still unclear.
Sarah continued to read when a map fell out. The map fell from between the pages. It was marked with unfamiliar locations. These places weren't on any official park document. Her father had been tracking feral humans' movements. He was piecing together a decades-old puzzle.
This discovery changes everything. The camera footage reveals new information. It's connected to the missing hikers. I alone know the truth about this situation.
Sarah felt renewed determination. She tucked the journal and map into her backpack. As she turned to leave, a floorboard creaked behind her. She spun around quickly. Her flashlight beam cut through the darkness.
Who's there?
For a moment, Sarah thought she saw a pair of eyes shining in the darkness, but they vanished as quickly as they appeared. She was left alone in the abandoned outpost. The weight of her discovery pressed down on her. It felt as heavy as the darkness itself.
I'm not alone out here anymore. And I can't trust anyone until I know who's really on my side.
Sarah took one last look at the outpost. It had held the key to her past. She stepped back into the night. The forest seemed eerier and more threatening than ever. The ghosts of her past had taken on a new reality. Now they were watching her every move. The dense forest of Shadowpine National Park loomed before Sarah Blackwood. She led her small team as they ventured deeper into uncharted territory. The air was thick with tension. Every sound, from snapping twigs to rustling leaves, signaled potential danger. The team moved cautiously, aware that each step could lead them into the unknown.
Stay alert, everyone. We're well beyond the usual patrol routes now.
Sarah, are you sure about this? We're practically inviting trouble.
We don't have a choice, Jack. We're gonna uncover the truth. We need to push further than ever before. This situation demands that we go beyond our previous limits. Our determination will lead us to explore uncharted territory in our quest for answers.
Dr. Elena Reyes was nervous. She clutched her research equipment tightly. Her eyes darted quickly. She looked from shadow to shadow. The darkness seemed to hide potential dangers.
The signs of human presence are becoming more obvious. Look at those markings on the trees. They're definitely not from any animal I've studied before. These unusual marks suggest that people might be living in this area.
As they pressed on through the forest, the trees seemed to close in around them. Suddenly, a terrifying screech pierced the air.
Get down!
Sarah's warning came just in time. A group of feral humans suddenly appeared from the bushes. Their eyes were wild and their movements erratic.
They're everywhere.
The team found themselves surrounded. Feral humans were closing in on them. These humans brandished improvised weapons. Their teeth were bared menacingly. The situation was tense and dangerous, with the team facing an imminent threat from these aggressive individuals.
Stay together, back to back.
The situation was getting worse. A tall figure appeared from the shadows. It was the Watcher. His presence was commanding. He stood out, even among the ferals. The atmosphere grew tense as this powerful being made his entrance.
Enough.
The single word was spoken in a rough voice. It brought the attackers to a sudden halt. The Watcher's eyes locked onto Sarah's. A flicker of recognition passed between them. The tense moment hung in the air, unresolved.
You shouldn't be here.
We're not leaving until we get answers. What happened to the missing hikers? What do you know about my mother?
The Watcher tilted his head. An almost pained expression appeared. The look crossed his face. This sequence of actions revealed the Watcher's emotional state, combining physical movement with a visible change in facial expression.
Your mother, Sarah, you look so much like her.
Sarah's eyes widened in shock. Her guard was briefly dropped. In that instant, chaos erupted once more. The wild attackers surged forward. They separated Sarah from her team.
Sarah!
We can't reach her.
Jack and Elena struggled against the tide of feral humans. Meanwhile, Sarah found herself in a different predicament. She was being pulled away by the mysterious Watcher.
Come, there's much you need to know.
No, I can't leave them.
The Watcher's grip was iron strong. Sarah caught a final glimpse of her team. They were disappearing into the forest. Wild, crazed creatures surrounded them on all sides. This was the last thing Sarah saw before her view was cut off.
They will live. But your path lies with me now, daughter of the forest.
The Watcher led Sarah deeper into the unknown. Sarah realized the answers she sought might come at a terrible price. Before her, the chasm of truth opened wide. She had no choice but to venture into its depths. The path to understanding lay ahead, fraught with danger and revelation. Before we continue, let's take a moment to reflect. What are your thoughts on this story? What would you like to hear next? Please share your ideas in the comments. Sarah Blackwood found herself in the heart of the feral human settlement. Her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and fascination. The dense forest canopy filtered the sunlight above. It cast dappled shadows on the makeshift dwellings around her. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she began to notice details. The intricate aspects of this hidden society came into view.
My God, it's like stepping into another world entirely.
Sarah's whisper was barely audible. She took in the scene before her. Simple yet functional structures dotted the clearing. These were made from natural materials and scavenged park items. People moved about with purpose. Their movements were fluid and adapted to their environment. This adaptation showed years of change and growth. A sudden noise caught Sarah's attention. She noticed a nearby shelter. To her amazement, she saw a young woman working there. The woman was handling what looked like salvaged electronic parts. She skillfully manipulated wires and circuits.
Impossible. They're not just surviving, they're innovating.
Sarah crouched behind a fallen log. She was observing her surroundings. Suddenly, a tall figure emerged from the shadows. It was the Watcher, his piercing eyes locked onto Sarah's hiding spot.
You can come out now, Sarah Blackwood. We've been expecting you.
Sarah froze in shock. Her mind was racing with questions. How did he know her name? With no other choice, she slowly stood up. Her hands were raised in a peaceful gesture.
How do you know who I am?
We've been watching you for a long time. Just as we watched your mother.
Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The mention of her mother sent a jolt through her body. This ignited a mixture of hope and dread within her. The sudden news had stirred up conflicting emotions, leaving Sarah both anxious and expectant about what might come next.
My mother? What do you know about her disappearance?
All in due time, Ranger. First, let me show you our home. You might find it illuminating.
The Watcher gestured for Sarah to follow him. They walked through the settlement together. Sarah's ranger training conflicted with her personal quest for answers. She observed the intricate social structure of the community. Hunters were returning with their game. Children learned essential survival skills. Elders presided over what seemed to be a council meeting.
This is incredible. You've created an entire society here, hidden from the world.
We've adapted, evolved. Your civilization cast us out, so we forged our own path.
Sarah's mind raced as she grappled with the ethical implications. She was witnessing something extraordinary. These people were clearly intelligent and organized. They had created their own unique culture, yet they were also responsible for attacks on hikers. Their actions posed a growing threat to the park. Sarah struggled to reconcile their fascinating society with the danger they presented.
But the attacks on hikers, the danger you pose to the park, how can I ignore that?
Survival is key, Sarah. We protect what's ours, just as you do. The question is about your true loyalties. Do they lie with your ranger badge? Or do they lie with the truth about your past?
Sarah felt the weight of her choices pressing down on her. She looked around at the wild settlement. Sarah realized the line between right and wrong had never been so unclear. Her quest for answers about her mother now conflicted with her duty as a ranger. The outcome of both her world and the feral world hung in the balance.
I need to understand more. Show me everything.
With those words, Sarah took her first step. She ventured deeper into the world of wild humans. Sarah knew her discoveries would be life-changing. They would alter her understanding of civilization. Her views on family would also shift. Even her own identity would be transformed. Deep in Shadow Pine Park, Sarah Blackwood crouched behind a gnarled oak tree. Her eyes were fixed on the crude settlement before her. The camp of wild humans buzzed with activity. It was a stark contrast to the eerie silence of the surrounding forest. As Sarah watched, a familiar figure emerged from a makeshift hut. It was the Watcher.
It can't be. After all this time.
Sarah's heart raced as recognition dawned. The Watcher's features were weathered and wild. They bore a clear likeness to a faded photograph. Sarah had carried this photograph for 3 decades. The striking similarity between the Watcher and the image was undeniable.
Mom?
The noise alerted the Watcher. He turned quickly, his eyes scanning the tree line. Sarah ducked lower to hide. Her mind was shocked by what she had just learned. The implications of her discovery were overwhelming.
I know you're there, Sarah. It's time we talked.
The voice was rough from years of disuse. It carried echoes of Sarah's childhood memories. Slowly, Sarah stood up. She stepped out from her hiding place.
How? How is this possible? We thought you were dead.
Death would have been simpler. But life found a way here, in ways you couldn't imagine.
The Watcher was Sarah's long-lost mother. She gestured for Sarah to approach. As Sarah drew closer, she noticed something remarkable. Intricate scars and tattoos adorned her mother's skin. These markings told a story of survival and transformation.
Why didn't you come back to us? Dad and I, we searched for years.
I couldn't. This place, these people, they became my responsibility, my new family.
Sarah's eyes narrowed. A mix of hurt and anger appeared on her face.
Family? You abandoned your real family. Do you have any idea what that did to Dad? To me?
I never wanted to hurt you, Sarah. But I made a choice to protect something important. It was bigger than myself. It was even bigger than our family.
The Watcher turned and gestured to the settlement behind her. Feral humans of all ages moved about the area. Their movements displayed a strange blend of qualities. They combined graceful, wild movements with human intelligence.
These people needed me. They were lost, forgotten by the world outside. I couldn't abandon them.
And now they're threatening the park. People have gone missing, Mom. I can't ignore that.
A heavy silence fell between them. The weight of their shared past hung in the air. Their conflicting present added to the tension. This atmosphere reflected the complex emotions and unspoken words between them.
I know what's happening. I've been watching you closely. I've been guiding you to this place. Sarah, we need your help. We must find a way for both worlds to coexist. Our future depends on it.
Sarah's mind raced with conflicting emotions. She felt torn between her duty as a ranger and personal needs. A long-buried desire for her mother resurfaced. The shocking reality before her added to her turmoil.
I don't know if I can. How can I trust you after all this time?
You don't have to trust me. I'm asking you to listen. I'm asking you to understand. There's so much more at stake than you realize. The situation is more critical than it appears, and your attention is crucial.
As the Watcher spoke, a commotion arose from the settlement. Several wild people approached the area. Their stances were cautious but not openly aggressive. These untamed individuals seemed alert, yet hesitant in their approach.
Come with me, Sarah. Let me show you the truth about this place, and about yourself.
Sarah hesitated. her hand moving instinctively. She reached for the radio at her belt. This was a defining moment. It would shape her future and Shadow Pine's fate. Everyone in the town would be affected.
All right, show me what you've got. But understand this. I'm here primarily as a ranger. Any information I gather or observations I make, I must act upon. My duty is to protect the park and its people.
That's all I ask. Come, daughter. It's time you learned about your true heritage.
Sarah took a deep breath. She followed the Watcher, her mother, into the heart of the feral settlement. Sarah was leaving behind the world she knew. She was stepping into a new chapter of her life. This chapter would challenge everything she thought she understood. It would test her knowledge of herself and the wilderness she'd sworn to protect. A brutal winter storm had descended upon Shadow Pine National Park. It brought with it unforgiving fury and howling winds. The winds whipped through trees heavy with snow, creating a whiteout. Visibility was obscured beyond a few feet. In the heart of this frozen wasteland, Sarah Blackwood pressed on. Her determined steps were muffled by the thick blanket of snow.
Come on, Sarah, you've got to make it. Jack and Elena need to know.
Sarah's breath came out in visible puffs as she fought against the biting cold. Her ranger uniform, though insulated, was barely enough to keep the chill at bay. She clutched a small, waterproof bag close to her chest. The bag contained crucial evidence.
What was that?
Sarah froze in place. Her eyes darted around the white void surrounding her. The storm made it impossible to distinguish sounds. Natural noises blended with potential threats. For a moment, she thought she saw something. A shadow seemed to move among the trees.
It's just the wind. Keep moving.
Sarah pressed on, her mind racing. She had discovered something alarming about the feral humans. They were planning something big, and time was running out. Sarah needed to reach the ranger station quickly. Jack and Dr. Reyes were waiting for her there.
No, they couldn't be out in this storm, could they?
Sarah's pace quickened as her survival instincts kicked in. The howl sounded too close for comfort. It was eerily similar to animal sounds she had heard before. These noises were from recovered camera footage. Sarah's senses heightened, alert to the danger around her. Suddenly, the wind picked up with force. It nearly knocked Sarah off her feet. She stumbled and steadied herself against a tree trunk. As Sarah regained her balance, she noticed something unusual. A dark figure appeared at the edge of her sight, catching her attention.
You're getting closer, Sarah. But are you ready for what you'll find?
The voice was very faint over the storm. It sent a chill down Sarah's spine. This chill had nothing to do with the cold weather. Sarah turned quickly to look behind her, but the mysterious figure had already vanished into the swirling snow.
Who's there? Show yourself.
Only the howling wind answered. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. She realized the situation had become more dangerous. The Watcher knew she was out here. Sarah felt vulnerable and alone in the eerie silence.
I have to warn them. I have to make it.
Sarah pushed forward through the blizzard with renewed determination. The ranger station was close now. She could feel it. As the storm raged on, she couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. Something seemed to be watching her. She felt hunted through the winter wasteland. The presence was not quite human or animal.
Jack? Elena? Is that you?
Sarah strained her ears, trying to locate the source of the voices. Through the snowy curtains, she spotted a light from the ranger station. Relief flooded through her, but it didn't last long. As she stepped towards safety, the snow beneath her feet suddenly gave way. Sarah plunged into the icy waters of a hidden creek. The cold shocked her system as she fought to surface. Suddenly, a hand reached out from the bank. For a split second, Sarah hesitated. She was unsure if it was friend or foe. The current threatened to drag her under. Sarah had no choice but to grasp the outstretched hand.
I've got you, Sarah. Hold on.
Jack's voice cut through the chaos. Sarah felt herself being pulled from the icy water. She collapsed onto the snowy bank, gasping for air. Sarah looked up to see Jack and Dr. Reyes. They were running quickly towards her from the station nearby.
Sarah! Oh my God, are you all right?
Feral humans. They're coming. We need to prepare.
As consciousness began to slip away, Sarah had a final thought. She remembered the evidence in her waterproof bag. Sarah had made it this far, but the real battle was just beginning. A fierce storm lashed against the windows of the Shadow Pine National Park Ranger Station. Inside, Sarah Blackwood stood tensely at the command center. Her eyes darted between the weather radar and the growing crowd. Stranded visitors huddled in the main hall, seeking shelter from the raging storm outside.
Jack, we need to secure the perimeter. There are many people seeking shelter here. We're almost advertising our presence to the ferals.
I'm on it, Sarah. But don't you think we should focus on the storm? It's an urgent danger. These people need our help.
Trust me, Jack. The storm isn't the only danger we're facing tonight.
A loud crash suddenly echoed through the area. It seemed to come from the far side of the building. The crowd of visitors reacted with panicked screams.
Sarah, they're here.
Dr. Elena Reyes rushed into the command center. Her face was pale with fear. Sarah's hand quickly reached for her sidearm.
Elena, stay with the visitors. Try to keep them calm. Jack, you're with me.
Sarah and Jack moved towards the source of the disturbance. Shadowy figures darted past the windows. The feral humans had begun their attack.
Sarah, how do we handle this? We can't exactly open fire on them.
We need to establish communication. There has to be a way to reason with them.
Suddenly, a window shattered. A lean figure with wild eyes leapt into the station. Sarah recognized him immediately. It was the Watcher, the mysterious leader. She had encountered him before in the forest. The abrupt entrance startled everyone present.
Sarah Blackwood, we meet again. Your presence here is a threat. It endangers our very existence. We cannot allow this to continue.
We don't want to harm you or your people. However, I can't allow you to endanger innocent visitors. We must find a way to coexist peacefully. Our goal is to protect everyone's safety while seeking a harmonious solution.
The Watcher's eyes narrowed. A flicker of recognition passed across his face. For a moment, Sarah saw something familiar in his features. It was like a ghost of a memory she couldn't quite place.
Coexistence? Your kind has never allowed that, just as they didn't 30 years ago.
30 years. What do you know about my mother's disappearance?
The tension in the room reached its peak. Sarah's personal quest clashed with her professional duty. Outside, a raging storm echoed the chaos within the station. The fate of Shadow Pine National Park hung in the balance. Its visitors and the secret of the feral humans were at stake. This pivotal confrontation would determine everything. The harsh winter wind howled through the bare trees of Shadow Pine National Park. It carried the promise of an impending storm. Sarah Blackwood stood at the edge of a snow-covered clearing. Her breath was visible in the frigid air. Before her, two groups faced each other with palpable tension. One group was her fellow rangers. The other was a contingent of feral humans led by the Watcher.
This ends now. We can't continue living in fear and secrecy. Too many lives have been lost. Many questions remain unanswered. The time has come to face the truth and make a change.
You don't understand what you're asking, Sarah. Our way of life is at stake. Our very existence is under threat. The situation is far more serious than you realize.
Sarah's eyes narrowed as she studied the Watcher's face. She was searching for any resemblance. Her mind turned to the mother she'd lost. It had been 3 decades since her mother's passing.
I understand more than you think. However, I can't ignore the threat your people pose. Innocent hikers and campers are at risk. We need to find a solution that protects everyone.
Sarah, are you sure about this? We're outnumbered and outmatched in their territory.
We have to try, Jack. This is bigger than just us now.
The air was filled with tension. Both sides shifted uneasily. Snow began to fall softly. The delicate flakes stood in stark contrast to the serious atmosphere. This juxtaposition highlighted the gravity of the moment.
You speak of protection, yet you bring outsiders to our home. You threaten everything we've built. You endanger all that we've preserved.
And what about my mother? Was she just another sacrifice for your preservation?
A flicker of emotion crossed the Watcher's face. This brief display was quickly masked. In its place came stoic determination.
Your mother made her choice, Sarah. Now you must make your own decision. You can join us and learn our ways. Alternatively, you can leave this place forever. But be warned, exposing us will have serious consequences.
Sarah's hand moved quickly to her belt. Her tranquilizer gun rested there. The weight of the decision pressed down on her. It felt like gathering storm clouds above.
There has to be another way. We need a compromise. This compromise should allow both our worlds to live together. We must exist side by side without fear or bloodshed. Our goal is peaceful coexistence, free from violence and mutual distrust.
Sarah, perhaps we could establish a protected area within the park. This area would serve as a sanctuary for the feral community. The community could live undisturbed in this protected space. We would implement stricter measures to keep hikers away. These measures would protect the feral community's territories.
Dr. Reyes offered a suggestion. It seemed like a potential lifeline in the escalating conflict. Sarah's mind raced as she considered the idea. She carefully weighed the possibilities against the risks. The proposal hung in the air, waiting for a response.
It's not perfect, but it's a start. What do you say? Can we work together? We need to find a solution. This solution should protect both your people and the park visitors.
You ask for trust when you've given us no reason to offer it. How can we be sure this isn't a trap?
The snowfall intensified. It obscured the boundaries between the two groups. In that moment of unclear visibility, Sarah made her decision.
I'm willing to take the first step. I'll stay here alone as a gesture of good faith. My team will leave. We'll have 24 hours to draft a proposal for coexistence. If we can't reach an agreement, I'll remain your prisoner.
Sarah, no. You can't trust them.
I have to do this, Jack. It's the only way to break this pattern of distrust and fear. Sometimes, to protect what matters most, we must take risks. We have to be willing to risk everything for what's truly important.
Sarah's words echoed through the clearing. Both sides held their breath, awaiting the Watcher's response. The fate of Shadow Pine National Park hung in the balance. Its visitors and two vastly different societies were affected. Nature itself seemed to pause, anticipating the verdict. The dust settled on the confrontation between Sarah and the feral humans. Shadow Pine National Park fell into an unsettling stillness. The first rays of dawn crept through the trees. Long shadows stretched across the forest floor. Sarah stood at the edge of a clearing. Her uniform was torn and dirty. Her eyes remained fixed on the horizon.
What have I done?
Sarah's whisper was very quiet. It reflected the impact of her recent decisions. She turned to face Jack. He approached cautiously. Jack's expression showed both worry and tiredness.
Sarah, we need to report this. The higher-ups have to know what's happening out here.
And tell them what, Jack? We've discovered a society of feral humans. They're living in the park.
Sarah's voice trailed off. She couldn't describe the violence from the night before. Sarah closed her eyes. Memories flashed behind her eyelids.
We did what we had to do. To protect ourselves, the park visitors. It was self-defense.
Was it? Or did we just destroy something we don't understand?
A twig snapped in the distance. The sound caused both rangers to whirl around quickly. Their hands instinctively reached for their weapons. Dr. Elena Reyes emerged from the tree line. Her usually composed demeanor appeared shaken. The sudden noise had startled everyone in the area. The rangers remained alert, their eyes scanning the surroundings. Dr. Reyes approached cautiously, her expression reflecting the tension of the moment.
I've been looking everywhere for you two. We need to talk about what happens next.
Elena, I'm not sure there is a next. How do we come back from this?
Sarah, what happened here is unprecedented. We've discovered a previously unknown human society. They've been living right under our noses. The anthropological significance of this is immense. It's a groundbreaking find that will change our understanding of human cultures.
Significance? People died last night, Elena, on both sides.
Sarah's words hung in the air. They were heavy with guilt and regret. Jack shifted uncomfortably in response. Elena's eyes flashed with a mix of emotions. She felt empathy and scientific curiosity. The room was tense with unspoken feelings and reactions.
Look, we can't undo what's happened. But we can decide what happens next. The park and the visitors are still our responsibility.
And what about them? The ones who survived? We can't just pretend they don't exist.
That's exactly what I wanted to discuss. We have a unique opportunity here. It's a chance to bridge two worlds.
As Elena spoke, a figure emerged from the shadows. It came from among the trees nearby. The Watcher stood silently, his eyes reflecting the dawn light. He observed the group intently. Sarah's hand tightened on her rifle. However, she didn't raise her weapon.
You speak of bridges, but your kind builds walls.
The Watcher's voice was rough from disuse, yet it carried a strange eloquence. Sarah took a step forward. Her professional instincts clashed with her personal feelings. The contrast between the Watcher's unique voice and Sarah's conflicted response created a tense atmosphere.
We never meant for any of this to happen. I just wanted to protect the park, to find answers.
Are you looking for answers, Sarah Blackwood? Perhaps you should seek questions instead. The right questions can reveal more than any answer.
Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The Watcher said her name. This stirred something in Sarah's memory.
You knew my mother, didn't you?
The Watcher's expression softened very slightly. He reached into a simple satchel at his side. From it, he withdrew an old leather journal.
The past and future are intertwined. They are like roots beneath the forest floor. Your mother understood this concept. Perhaps now you can understand it too.
Sarah reached for the journal with trembling hands. The first rays of sunlight broke through the canopy. They lit up the clearing in that moment. The lines between civilized and wild began to fade. Past and present merged, leaving only an uncertain future ahead. The story is over. Thank you for listening. Please write a comment about this story. Tell me what you think. I will read all of your comments. I'll reply to each of you personally. See you next time.